Well, good morning, folks. Welcome back to the farm. The rain continues, thankfully. It wasn't just a flash in the pan. We're actually going to get a few days of it here. And it's amazing how much, I mean, this looks pretty brown here, but all this stuff over here and in behind me, it's amazing how quickly it got green. Now, it's fantastic it's got green. Now we just need it to warm up again to go with the moisture and get everything growing again here. I'm running over to this little chicken tractor. You can see I've got it propped up. We had a hen in there and she had 5 chicks. Two of them disappeared entirely. Pretty confident they got out underneath one of the low spots and then had to fend for themselves and obviously didn't make it. But there's 3 of them in here now with her, and I propped this up last night. And the reason being, because the 2 disappeared, is because I think they get out and then they can't find a way to get back in. And then, yeah, they are literally fending for themselves. So this still provides protection from aerial predators. It still allows mama hen to go in and out as necessary to round them up. And but for the inquisitive chick, it lets them get out and explore a little bit. So they're now, what are they? 10 days, I think, about 10 days. And they're progressing really good. We got them on a 20% protein chick starter, medicated chick starter. Again, anything that's born here on the farm, it's not vaccinated, right? Vaccines come in like batches of 1,000, so it just wouldn't be viable for us to do, you know, these 3 and the other 4 on the other side of the farm. So we just give them medicated feed. So the meat chickens over here, they're doing fantastic. Tomorrow's a big day. It's going to be their only bad day on the farm. They probably had a couple pretty uncomfortable days, definitely during that heat wave. We had to do a lot of intensive management to keep all of these birds alive. But we're here. We're finally here. So yeah, tomorrow's the day. We've got a whole bunch of family coming in, and we're just gonna make a night of it. We're gonna start around 5 o'clock, and we're just gonna go till everything's in the chiller. So thank you, chickens, because I don't know how many, I'd say an average, probably about a 9-pound bird. We got 60 birds, right? So that's a ton of lean protein that's been just eating pure sunshine. No antibiotics, no pesticides, no herbicides, fully organic, free range, right? I mean, they had the chicken tractors initially when they were smaller, but now, I mean, obviously we got them in an enclosure, but they can still move around as needs be, graze, eat bugs, do all the stuff that chickens love to do. And so this over here, this is where the chickens come from. Actually, we just tightened up the wire last night, cinched it up around the chicken tractor to make it that much easier to catch them. But this is where they came from. There's still a ton of growth in here. Now that it's raining, it's going to get better. So once chicken butchering day is done, we're going to move that fence back to where it was, and we're going to let these rams out, and they can graze in here for a couple of weeks. The rams, ultimately, we want them to go back in behind our shop on the hillside there as part of our soil conservation regeneration experiment. I wouldn't call it an experiment. It's more of a program than an experiment. We know it's going to work. And try to remediate a lot of the soil erosion, soil losses that were happening back there. Now, speaking of soil conditioning, I just want to run over to the house here, and I want to show you. We think about a drought, and we think, oh, we're getting all this rain, and it's so pleasant. But let's look at the soil and see what 2 inches of rain in 3 days actually does for the soil. So you would think that would be an immense amount of rain. But when you look at it, in these spots here, there's still massive craters, right? So we probably need upwards of 5-6 inches before that starts to heal itself and fully expand to where it's supposed to be, right? A lot of this clay, if you actually were to dig down into clay, if you had the energy to chisel through that stuff, you'd be down probably 15-16 inches before you hit moist clay. So that stuff on the surface has used up all of its moisture. There's just literally no moisture available in that top surface. That's why a lot of this grass burnt in the sun, and that's why some of it's like, it's just going to stay brown. It's not going to recover. Like spots like this, right? right? That's the end of the year for that grass. There's just no recovering for that stuff. It's gone completely dormant, and we probably, maybe late fall, we might see it start to green up again right before it freezes, of course, which is super healthy for the grass, as you can imagine. Anyways, these are the cards we're dealt. So speaking of the cards we're dealt, square bales. Yeah, we couldn't find any round hay bales close by at a reasonable price here this year. So we got a bunch of square bales. Thankfully, the brother-in-law came by yesterday and helped me pack and stack, and we got 120 square bales on the trailer, tarped up in a very narrow margin where there wasn't any rain or drizzle. And it's rained pretty much all night. And you know what? I'm really happy we got this all tarped up and protected. So that's half of our winter feed secured in the bag. Before I head off to work, however, I did want to check in on the Mouse Miracle Garden. This is kind of Charlotte's little garden off by itself. Pumpkins look like they're doing something. I don't know if that's good, or they're definitely late season pumpkins. So unsure if we're actually going to get something harvestable here. I forget entirely what that is. You can see half the rows doing well, the other half not so much. A few carrots in here starting to come in, and the sunflowers pretty much, yeah. So why did this not work out? Why is this, this is our no-dig garden bed. This is an experiment that we started this spring. You'll see there's no weeds in here, right? So, that part of the experiment was bang, perfect, right? Absolutely fantastic. But the rest of the stuff didn't grow. Well, it did grow. It grew really well. And then the damn chickens came in, and we couldn't keep the chickens out without, putting netting all the way up. I was watering it, and then the grass grew up really tall around it, and then the fence would ground out, the chickens would get in anyways, and they were running out of grass. So I actually had sheep in here in the adjacent one, because the fence was ground out. The sheep were getting out, and the sheep were nibbling on the kale and the spinach. And anyways, that's a very, very long, convoluted excuse for why this did not work out. But in principle, the no-dig garden is working. Just you need to keep the livestock out of your kitchen, and that's essentially, they obviously don't like pumpkins, so that's good. I think they like fully grown pumpkins, just not the pumpkin leaves and pumpkin stems. But kale, spinach, sunflowers, right up a chicken or sheep's alley. Anyways, on that note, I really do have to get off to work here, so I'm gonna let you go for now. I hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll see you tomorrow.